I didn't notice it all at once. That's the part people never talk about. There was no explosion, no argument, no moment where everything shattered and fell to the floor. It arrived quietly, like most things that change your life do. It started in the mornings. She used to hum while she made coffee. Not a song, just a sound, something absent-minded and warm. I never told her I noticed it, but I did. Every day, it made the house feel awake before the sun finished rising. Then one morning the humming stopped. The coffee still brewed, the mugs were still where they always were. The routine didn't change, but the air did. It felt thinner somehow, like something had been removed, and no one mentioned it. She stood at the counter scrolling through her phone while the coffee cooled. I remember noticing how long she stared at the screen before she looked up. When she did, her eyes passed over me the way you look past furniture. Not rude, not angry, just uninterested. I told myself I was imagining it. People drift sometimes. Life gets busy. We were adults. We had responsibilities. It wasn't realistic to expect the same energy forever. That's what I told myself while I sat at the table, pretending to read the news. At night, she started going to bed later. Not dramatically later. Just enough that I'd already be half asleep when she came in. She'd slide under the covers quietly, facing the other direction. I'd feel the mattress shift and think, she's tired. That explanation fit neatly, so I kept it. She laughed more during the day, but not with me. It was a light laugh, the kind that comes from reacting to something on a screen. I'd hear it from the other room and wait for her to tell me what was funny. She never did. The house still looked like our house. The pictures were still on the walls. The calendar still had plans written in her handwriting. Grocery lists, appointments, birthdays, from the outside. Nothing was wrong. But inside that house, something was slowly disconnecting. I didn't confront her. That's important. I didn't accuse. I didn't interrogate. I didn't demand reassurance. Part of me didn't want to disturb whatever fragile balance still existed. Another part of me was afraid of what the answer might be. So I did what men like me tend to do. I adjusted. I tried to be easier to live with. I spoke less. I listened more. I offered help before she asked. I took care of things quietly so she wouldn't have to think about them. I told myself that love was about endurance, not attention. When she seemed distant, I gave her space. When she seemed tired, I picked up the slack. When she seemed distracted, I reminded myself that life is heavy sometimes. I asked myself hard questions in private. Am I boring now? Have I stopped trying? Did I miss something important along the way? I replayed years in my head, searching for a moment where I might have taken a wrong turn without realizing it. Men do that when they feel something slipping away. We audit ourselves in silence. And the strangest part was this. I wasn't angry. I was worried. Worried that if I said the wrong thing, I'd push her further away. Worried that if I noticed too much, I'd confirm something I wasn't ready to face. Worried that love, once questioned, might not survive the questioning. So I stayed calm, steady, reliable. I thought that was strength. But unease doesn't stay quiet forever. There's a moment when denial stops protecting you and starts imprisoning you. You don't know when it begins, only that something inside you tightens and doesn't loosen again. For me, it was the look on her face when I talked about the future. It wasn't anger, it wasn't disagreement, it was something closer to discomfort. Like I had mentioned a place she no longer wanted to go. Vacations felt theoretical, plans felt abstract. Even simple things, next month, next year, were met with vague answers that went nowhere. I began to sense a clock I couldn't see. Time felt heavier around her, like every mention of it pressed on something sensitive. I didn't know why. I only knew that the longer I avoided acknowledging it, the louder it became. There are shifts you can talk through. And then there are shifts that don't want to be named yet. Those are the dangerous ones. Here's what took me far too long to understand. What was happening had very little to do with me. That realization didn't come overnight. It came slowly after the confusion burned itself out and left clarity in its place. I wasn't losing her because I failed as a husband. I was losing her because something inside her was changing, and no amount of patience or effort on my part could stop it. That truth was both painful and relieving. Painful because it meant I was powerless. Relieving because it meant I wasn't the cause. For a long time, Her sense of worth had been reflected back to her by the world. Attention, appreciation, being seen. Those things had come easily once. Not because she demanded them, but because the world offered them freely. Doors opened, conversations lingered, eyes followed. And then, gradually, that feedback changed, not dramatically, not cruelly, just quietly. The world didn't stop being polite, it stopped being impressed. That shift is hard to explain to someone who hasn't felt it. It's not about vanity, it's about identity. When the way you've measured yourself for decades stops working, the ground under you starts to feel unstable. You begin to question things you never questioned before. Who am I now? What do I still represent? What does the future see when it looks at me? Those questions don't always come with answers. Sometimes they come with panic instead. When that panic sets in, people don't always act logically. They reach. They experiment. They look for small sparks of intensity, anything that reminds them they're still visible, still relevant, still capable of being noticed. New routines, new interests, new circles, not because the old ones were bad, but because they were familiar, and familiarity, when you're afraid of time, can feel like a trap. I mistook that restlessness for dissatisfaction with me. It wasn't. It was dissatisfaction with reflection. The body changes before the mind learns how to interpret it. That's not philosophy. That's biology. Internal chemistry shifts. Sensitivity to reward changes. What once felt grounding can begin to feel dull. What once felt safe can begin to feel restrictive. When that happens, the brain looks for ways to restore balance. It doesn't always choose wisely. It chooses urgently. This isn't about good or evil. It's about adaptation lagging behind reality, understanding that doesn't erase the damage, but it explains the chaos. While her inner world grew louder, mine grew quieter, not because I was stronger, because I was already anchored. Routine didn't scare me. Responsibility didn't threaten me. If anything, they steadied me. They gave my days shape. That difference mattered more than I realized. What felt like consistency to me felt like stagnation to her. What felt like reliability to me felt like immobility to her. Neither of us was wrong. We were simply moving in opposite psychological directions at the same time. I tried to reassure her that was my mistake. Every compliment reminded her that reassurance was necessary. Every attempt at comfort highlighted the insecurity she was trying not to see. The calmer I became, the more she interpreted it as emotional distance. Stability, offered at the wrong moment, can feel like confinement. I didn't know that then. I only knew that the harder I tried to steady things, the more unstable they became. I've known two kinds of men in this situation. The first clings, he explains. He negotiates. He exhausts himself trying to prove his value to someone who no longer knows how to measure it. He doesn't lose all at once. He fades, slowly, quietly, until he can't recognize himself anymore. The second man does something different. He stops chasing clarity from someone who doesn't have it. He stops trying to win arguments that aren't being argued. Honestly, he doesn't harden, he stills. He doesn't become cruel, he becomes contained. The world encourages confusion. ET sells reinvention as salvation. It celebrates disruption without discussing cost. It praises emotional impulse and calls it courage. There's always a story about starting over. Rarely one about what gets left behind. Noise rewards urgency. Silence is punished. In that environment, restraint looks like weakness. It isn't. Here is what I learned too late, but learned nonetheless. You cannot out-argue fear. You cannot soothe someone who is running from their own reflection. You cannot stabilize a storm by stepping into it. What you can do is choose your posture. You can decide how you respond, how you stand, how much of yourself you surrender to chaos that isn't yours. Stillness isn't indifference. Silence isn't defeat. Calm isn't absence of feeling. They are discipline. And discipline, in moments like these, is the only form of control that doesn't cost you your identity. Time reveals what emotion obscures. Long after the noise fades, reality settles in. Questions return. Consequences surface. Not as punishment, but as understanding. Some people rebuild wisely. Some don't. That part is out of your hands. I didn't lose her. I lost the man I was before I learned that peace doesn't come from being chosen. It comes from choosing who you become when you aren't. Pain didn't destroy me. It clarified me. And that clarity, that quiet, grounded clarity, has been worth more than anything I was afraid to lose.